I believe that something major needs to be done about this. The money that it's costing us, the amount of people that are in this country that we have no idea who they are, what they've done, what they're capable of.
When I look at America now, and I look at the horror story that's unfolding there, and I know a lot of people here agree with what's going on, people being dragged out of their homes, illegal immigrants that maybe have been working there 20, 25 years, they've built up a life and a home, and they pay taxes and all of that.
Breaking right now, civil war at ITV Daytime over Reform UK's mass deportation plan. This comes as Rylan Clark has been forced to defend himself for what some insiders at ITV are furious about. 2 minutes on Woke television where he actually spoke the truth about mass immigration. But many of his co-stars, including the loose women, are not happy. I'm going to take you through this story in full with the inside details and Rylan's response. But first, I think it's really important that we actually hear what he said on This Morning Today, responding to Nigel Farage's announcement that Reform UK has pledged to mass deport 500,000 illegals in their first term if they get to number 10 Downing Street. Watch this.
Major worry. I've got to be honest, that is a major worry now. Taking politics out of this, let's just look at the country, Tim. Yeah. This country is built on immigration, legal immigration. You know, a lot of the nurses, the doctors that have saved my mum's life have come over here from other countries and living a great life. They're paying into this tax system. They're helping this country thrive. I find it absolutely insane that all these people, one, are risking their lives coming across the channel like that they are. But two, when they get here, it does seem, and I think this is why a lot of Labour voters as well are now sitting there going, there's something wrong here. It seems, welcome, come on in. This is the narrative we're being fed. Here's the hotel. Here's the phones. Here's the iPad. Here's the NHS in reception of your hotel. Here's 3 meals a day. Here's a games room in the hotel. Have a lovely time and welcome. And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling. They're homeless. Let's not even discuss that homeless. That people living on the streets, veteran, all of this. But this isn't me getting on my soapbox because let me be honest, everyone's going to have an opinion about this and you're going to upset someone some which way. I believe that something major needs to be done about this. The money that it's costing us, the amount of people that are in this country that we have no idea who they are, what they've done, what they're capable of, and clearly we see a lot of it in the press at the moment, what some are doing, it's not all, what some are doing to people in this country. How can, if I turn up at Heathrow Airport as a British citizen and I've left my passport in Spain, I've got to stand at that airport and won't be let in and got to get this, but if I arrive on a boat in Calais, I get taken to a 4-star hotel.
Listen, I think you sum up people's emotions.
Amen to that. Well done, Rylan Clark, for speaking a truth that, hilariously, most of the public believe, but can very much get you cancelled within the halls of Woke ITV. So much so that Rylan has had to release a statement clarifying his position because of the so-called backlash. He has written, you can be pro-immigration and against illegal routes. You can support trans people and have the utmost respect for women. You can be heterosexual and still support gay rights. The list continues. Stop with this putting everyone in a box exercise and maybe have conversations instead of shouting on Twitter. To which Thomas Skinner replied, I'm so proud of you, mate. But you can imagine the race baiters are out in force. Narinder Kaur responding, do better, Rylan. Apologise and stop cosplaying fascist and racist narratives, putting targets on brown and black communities. Oh, how dare you? Listen to what she had to say. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favour. Click the subscribe button now. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
These days, seriously, Rylan, I've met you before, liked you. But your little outburst on this morning was disgusting, despicable. You can do better. And don't you dare wrap it up as, oh, well, it's all unfair. Because if you wanted to talk about unfairness, you could have talked about billionaires not paying their taxes. You could have talked about corrupt politicians. You could have talked about a multitude of sins of the Tory government of the past 14 years. But no, you decided to wake up and punch down on vulnerable people who are drowning in the sea, trying to get desperate, trying to get to this country, and you wrapped it up as some kind of luxury holiday they're on. It's disgusting. Who do you think you are, seriously? And then you started to kind of backtrack and said, well, actually, we like legal migrants. They looked after my mum so well. My parents were legal migrants. I know plenty of legal migrants, and they don't appreciate that you thought that that's okay, because we're at targets right now. Black and brown communities right now, we're targets. There's a target on our back. 2 Sikh men have been attacked. A restaurant in a suspected racial aggravated attack. And all you can talk about is, well, we don't mind them. Shut up.
Well, it all then kicked off within ITV Daytime, because this morning leads immediately into a show that you probably have heard of called Loose Women. It's just about to pretty much be axed, but it's full of a whole load of women who tend to be on the left these days. And immediately after what happened on This Morning, the Loose Women decided to hit back via their hard left champion, Nadia Sawalha, who, even though she didn't mention Rylan by name, was clearly enraged by what she had just seen happening. We're going to get reaction from our superstar panel, Father Calvin Robinson and Donna Rachel Edmonds, in just one moment. But first, watch what happened.
Well, the thing is, I am actually really worried. I know a lot of people just dismiss Nigel Farage and sometimes rantings.
Yeah.
But when I look at America now and I look at the horror story that's unfolding there, and I know a lot of people here agree with what's going on, people being dragged out of their homes, illegal immigrants that maybe have been working there 20, 25 years, have built up a life and a home and they pay taxes and all of that. I actually, for me, it feels like Trump is Nigel Farage's sort of like man crush kind of thing.
Well, they are very close.
They're very close. And it feels like he's following his playbook. And, you know, it's the oldest trick in the book, isn't it, for a politician to create hate about a group of people to distract from all that they're not doing. And it feels to me like he loves to throw that red meat out. And it's like we should be, like you say, Kate, we should be looking at what really, yes, it's a problem, you know, we can't have everybody here, but we have to come up with a solution for that. Successive governments haven't.
We sort of have to find the middle ground, don't we? Rather than the pendulum going all the way over here.
And to blame our lack of a good education system, lack of good mental health services, lack of good, the NHS struggling, to blame it all on migrants is very dangerous. And I think when you look at America, and you look at how the Democrats kind of just passed him off as a joke all the time, Trump, and here we are. He's breaking down the Constitution. He's doing whatever he wants. He's rounding people up. He sent people off to El Salvador. I just think we have to be really careful.
Yeah, and we are a divided country. I mean, if you look at the polls.
He got voted in by people who felt they were not listened to. They're concerned
and he
not
played
being
those
listened
people
to.
in the way that Nigel Farage is.
Oh, I think I want to scream. Father Calvin, I mean, isn't it astonishing, right, that Rylan Clark says something I think completely non-controversial that probably 90% of the country agree with. He didn't do so in party political terms. And look at what's happened. Complete meltdown. His own colleagues clearly responding to him. It's nuts. But first, let's be honest, you're watching this because you know the mainstream media can't be trusted anymore. The so-called fact checkers, they're just part of the same corrupt club. And who can forget the scandals they helped cover up or spin? Brexit lies, the COVID chaos, the relentless smears against Donald Trump. Well, I've had enough of being misled. That's why I've turned to Ground News, today's sponsor. It's the one place I go to slice through the spin, cut out the noise, and finally see the truth for myself. Go to ground.news/outspoken to check it out for yourself. My favourite feature is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are blowing up on one side of politics but barely mentioned on the other, the clearest way to see media bias in action. So let me show you a story the left is ignoring. The terrorist mastermind of the 7/7 attacks could soon be back on London streets despite police fears. You'd think this would be a huge story everywhere, right? But left-leaning outlets have barely touched it. And what about on the right? Well, the UK Chancellor says the government is backing Scotland with billions in investment. It's a massive funding pledge, yet it's barely been covered by right-leaning media. With every story, Ground News shows you the entire spectrum of who's reporting from left, right, and centre, along with how reliable each source is and who owns each outlet. It's everything the corporate press doesn't want you to see. I know you love keeping up with the news, but like me, you don't buy what the legacy media is selling. So this gives you the tools for yourself to see what's really going on without the spin, without the manipulation, and without being told what to think. It's the only way I read the news now, and clearly many of you agree, as Ground News has over 10,000 five-star reviews. So go to ground.news/outspoken and stop letting the mainstream media decide the truth for you. If you subscribe through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan. That's the one I personally use for unlimited access. Supporting Ground News also supports Outspoken, so thank you for helping me keep doing what I am doing here too. That's ground.news/outspoken. But now, back to the show.
What Rylan Clark said was entirely moderate. In fact, he was wrong. Britain is not built on immigration. Britain was never built on immigration. Britain was built on Britons. England was built by the English. We haven't had mass migration in the UK until the late 1990s. We only had migration in the UK from the 1950s, really and truly. And so these are lies that have been propagated through the education system for such a long time now that people start to believe it. But where he was right he was saying we cannot support illegal immigration coming into the country and reaping the benefits where Britons are struggling, starving, and famished, basically. His point was accurate. But the lady on Loose Women, I don't know what her name is. I can't.
Nadia Sawalha. She's on the hard left.
vapid Jezebel spirits, but what she was saying was pretty similar to him. She was pretty much saying, we can't have everyone here. Of course we can't. We need to find a solution. Well, then let's have the conversation. Because what she points out is that there are many people that are disaffected, many people who do not feel listened to by the establishment. And yes, the pendulum will swing back far the other way as a result of people like her and that panel who dismiss ordinary working class Britons with ordinary problems and concerns. The fact that they continue to sneer at people and paint everything as far right is why there's such a diverse split in the people of this country, of our country. And so they don't see that they are the problem. And they point at people like Farage, who he's not far right. He's not, I wish he was more like Trump. He's nothing like Trump. But we do need someone like Trump in Britain, because what Trump's doing out here in America is fantastic. Anyone that's here illegally, anyone that's breaking the law, you're gone, as it should be. If you enter a country illegally, you break the law to get there, and you reap the benefits that people who are legal citizens do not have access to, you should be deported. Of course you should. If you break a law, you should be punished. That's the basis of the law. If we do away with the law, we're not civilized people. Just as if we do away with our borders, we are not a nation. These are simple things, and these simple women don't seem to grasp it. And it's so annoying because they are on mainstream media propagating their nonsense and pushing the idea that liberals are somehow morally superior, and everyone who disagrees with them is somehow a fascist. And so the pendulum will indeed swing back hard, but it will be their fault, not ours.
Indeed. And Donna Rachel Edmonds, I think it is so shocking that the way the liberal elite thinks means that Rylan Clark is now like a hunted man. He's probably terrified that he's going to be sacked, terrified that he's going to lose endorsement deals, terrified that he's going to lose work for actually expressing something that, as Father Calvin suggested, was actually really moderate.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for him. Of course I do. And I think he's probably having a really hard time right now, just seeing the storm that's blown around him. But I have to say, I mean, to me, it's indicative of how tenuous the left's grasp is on the power that they've been wielding in our country for the last couple of decades, let's say. I mean, look at the absolute meltdown they've had over people hanging our national flag outside, you know. Like, if they can't even cope with a flag in its own country, then no wonder they're you know, spitting feathers about people saying, well, you know, maybe we should have realistic, sensible policies that actually serve the people of the country. I mean, you know, but as I say, I think they know that they're losing their grasp. They know that the people are not on their side, and they know that sooner or later, as Calvin says, they've pushed it too far and they are going to reap what they sow. And I think that's what they're terrified of. They understand what they've done, and they are desperately trying to not let it happen.
Indeed. I mean, as Bev Turner, who used to be a regular on This Morning until she was cancelled from Woke ITV over the COVID madness, posted, "I call this the Trump tide. He splashes his feet in the water over there. We feel the ripples here. This moment," referring to what happened on This Morning, "is a tipping point. Who would have predicted that Rylan would have the courage to go first?" He sums it up deftly. You can feel the tension in that studio. But of course, the mainstream media continue their usual tricks. This was Victoria Derbyshire on BBC Newsnight last night, attempting to trip up Richard Tice of Reform UK.
Deputy leader Richard Tice, if they found themselves in power, his party deport every single person who is here in the UK illegally?
That's the ambition, because you can't enter a country illegally and expect to stay there forever. Now, the truth is that we don't know how many people are in the country. As a nation, we don't know where they are, so it won't be easy. It'll take time, but that is the ambition, and we will work to find those people who are illegally, who are working illegally, and detain and deport them.
So it's interesting that you use the word ambition, because that makes it sound like you don't necessarily think this plan is going to work. That there are.
No, we think it'll work. It's just, if you've got, give or take, 1 million people here illegally, we might get to 990,000, but we might miss the last few. That's the point.
Understood. ICE-type raids, is that the kind of thing you are thinking of in order to track illegal migrants down?
We will use whatever technologies and whatever methods are required in order to track people down, and that's including using data across all the various government departments, much of which isn't done at the moment, and compelling departments, including the NHS, to share that data so that we can identify who is in the country legally and who is here illegally.
But Father Calvin, regardless of how the mainstream media might try to swing it, your view is that the Reform UK mass deportation plan goes nowhere near far enough. You have posted on X 600,000 in 5 years. There are over 1.3 million Pakistani Muslims in the UK. Half of those were born in Pakistan, making up 5% of the general population. They account for 64% of child sexual abuse. Deportations need to be far higher from day one. So I guess maybe you would agree that this is a start in terms of the direction of travel, but actually it isn't really a mass deportation policy, because there's probably over 2 million here illegally.
Yeah, it's weird to me how they always play softball in the Reform Party. I'm not sure why, because I don't know what vote base they're after. But to say we want to deport 600,000 people in 5 years is astonishing to me, because there are over 600,000 people, roughly 780,000 people, who were born in Pakistan who are in our country right now. Every single one of those needs to be deported for a start. That's regardless of the Albanians, the Afghanistans, all of the people who have entered our country, both legally and illegally, that have no place in our country. And so to say 600K over 5 years, what's the point? Why bother? Like, the number of people coming in mass outnumbers that anyway. We're up over 1 million per year net migration. So do they really want to solve the problem, or do they just want to seem like they are willing to solve the problem to those of us who want it solved, so they can go after whatever their ambitions really are, which I don't know. Again, I don't know what reforms stand for. I don't know what they want to achieve other than getting into power. What do they want?
Yeah, and that is such an important question. And that's why Elon Musk's intervention is, to me, so significant. I mean, this is a guy who seems to understand, I believe, more about what's happening in the United Kingdom and the threat to free speech than so many mainstream politicians. I mean, look at finally the fact that someone so significant has spoken publicly about the Lucy Connolly case. He wrote quite clearly on X, this madness needs to end. And it is only X, the only big tech company that is challenging the UK government's very serious crackdown on free speech. And at the moment, I think Reform UK might be making some of the right noises, but they need to move a lot harder, a lot faster.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.
मैं बाहर वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करने आया था, तो तेरे को कितना टाइम हो गया आए हुए?
आधा घंटा हो गया।
तो किससे बातें करता? आधा घंटे
घर पे।
बादो घर पे आ गया, अब भी किससे बातें कर रहा था?
माँ लोगों ने, अम्मा बहने।
नहीं, आज लेट क्यों हुआ ये बताओ?
वो असल में रात को थोड़ा खड्डा चला था कंपनी के बाहर।
किस बात का?
वो एक सुपरवाइजर को डकैतों ने पकड़ लिया
कंपनी में के बाहर। अच्छा, फिर क्या लूटा?
उसको मारा टिका।
मारा क्यों?
वो भागा दौड़ी करी ना उसने, तो पीछे भाग के पकड़ के मारा है
चोरों ने।
हाँ।
ये पैदल थे, बाइक पे था?
बाइक पे था।
फिर
मैं इस बात पे खुश हूँ।
तो वो सुपरवाइजर कौन था?
रिजवान नाम है।
तुम्हारा ही था सुपरवाइजर या किसी और का?
नहीं, डे शिफ्ट का था।
अच्छा।
मैं इस बात पे खुश हूँ।
वजह?
यार बिना वजह लड़कों को भगा रहा था
काम से। तो ये मेरे को लगता है उनमें से एक कोई तो निकले होंगे जो इसकी लेने के लिए ना।
उनमें से कोई था?
पता होगा कि कब
या उनमें से किसी ने बंदा भेजे।
हाँ, भेजे होंगे 2 लड़के, 1 लड़का 2 लड़के थे।
हाँ, सिखा के धुलाई करी।
अच्छा।
हाँ, मैं खुश हो गया जब मुझे सुबह खबर मिली ना, मैं सुनने के लिए बेताब खड़ा था।
तो तू इस वजह से लेट हुआ? लेट सिर्फ इस वजह से हुआ कि उनकी बातें सुन रहा था? अरे भैंस देख, वीडियो रिकॉर्ड कर रहा, टाइम नहीं गुजारा। 2 मिनट बोले मेरे को, तकरीबन 10 मिनट की वीडियो रिकॉर्ड करी। कितने?
10 मिनट।
10 मिनट की
ऐसे खाली वीडियो?
हाँ, बस शक्ल आनी चाहिए, जैसे अभी नहीं चल रहा मुझे ना, इस तरह हो 10 मिनट की।
अच्छा, यानी कि मेरी शक्ल भी डाल है?
नहीं, तेरी शक्ल नहीं, मैंने अपना ही फेस किया हुआ है। तब अंदर वो सोए में, इसलिए अंधेरा है।
नींद आई हुई है?
किनको? हाँ, सारे आए तो सुन पड़ेगा।
क्यों?
पता नहीं, आज आए भी 9 बजे थे। मेरे को नजले भी तंग किया हुआ यार।
9 बजे आए थे?
हाँ, लेट हुए थे। चाचा तो पहले ही आ गया था, ये लोग 9 बजे आए थे। मेरे को नजले ने बड़ा तंग किया हुआ यार। इसका कोई इलाज? एक वीडियो रिकॉर्ड हो रही है, मोबाइल यहाँ रखो। क्यों? कपड़े रख दो, गाड़ी लगी नहीं रखा गया। शक्ल अब वो तो सोए में बाद शाम को कभी लगा धोएगा।
बस ऐसे दोस्त
नहीं, इस नज़ले का क्या करिए, नज़ला होगा। हाँ, नज़ला बड़ा गंदा हुआ है, इसका नज़ले का कोई इलाज हाँ ये किसके कपड़े? मैंने भी धोने थे यार। हमने तकरीबन 10 मिनट की ऐसे वीडियो बनानी है, उसके बाद 10 मिनट क्या कहते हैं? नहीं कपड़े किसके?
मेरे है ना।
तेरे डले पेड़ नहीं दिखा गामा पे लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, समझ रहे हैं मेरी बात? कपड़े धो रहे हैं।
कपड़े गुलाम यदीन अली का तोला चढ़ता है।
हाँ इस कपड़े में बड़ा ये गंडिया सीन है यार, ये पीछे फोल्ड क्यों हो जाता है?
एक तरह है गुलाम यदीन। में कपड़े चढ़ देने आते हैं।
ये कपड़ा ही कुछ अजीब है यार, लेकर फंस गया था हमें। अभी दूसरा जोड़ा लेंगे यार, लेकिन पैसे भी नहीं है ना।
पैसे नहीं बचे हैं, मैं खुद इस माजरे में घुसा हुआ।
बहुत खर्चा हो रहा है यार, बिला वजह खर्चा हो रहा है कि नहीं? ये बता तो नस्ले के लिए क्या क्या कह रहा हूँ यार, लगता है खुद ही ख़त्म हो जाता है, फिर लगता है फिर खुद ही ख़त्म हो जाता है। ये हमारा चौधरी कपड़े धो रहे हैं। मैं बहुत एडिट कर रहा हूँ।
ये नेट पे चढ़ाएगा तेरा मैं गांड मार।
अरे ट्रिक यूज़ कर रहा हूँ ना, एक ट्रिक पता चलिए। लैपटॉप लेना आज लाजमी हो गया चौधरी, यकीन मान। पैसे नहीं ना, पैसे होते मैं कल ले आता। बड़ा मसला क्या है, आप खुल कर सामने आना। इसने ये तो सोलर सिस्टम लगाया हुआ है, लेकिन इसने ना प्लेटें बिठाई हुई हैं। हाँ इसने सोलर सिस्टम लगाया हुआ है, लेकिन प्लेटें लिटाई हुई है दूसरों की तरह से। मौसम कराची का टेट हो रहा है, लेकिन बारिश का दूर दूर इम्कान है। ये साला वक्त ही नहीं गुजर रहा है। वैसे तो वक्त से फटाफट गुजर गया, अभी 5 मिनट हुए। कितना टाइम, आधा घंटा जितना हमें लगता है कि हमने बच्चा दिया कर लिया।
असल बात पता है क्या है?
जब मैंने मोबाइल चला रहा था मेरा आधा घंटा गुजर गया, पता ही नहीं चला। अब देख कितना चला रहा हूँ मैं, अभी तक आधा ही घंटा, 5 मिनट 6 मिनट में। तकरीबन मुझे ये वीडियो 10 मिनट की चाहिए। कितने ये भी पेड़ देख रहे हो, ये है पेड़ जानवर का, इसके अंदर 1-2 बच्चे, इसके अंदर 1-2 बच्चे हैं। कब किस टाइम उठाता था?
कल अब्बा आया था जिस टाइम
उठाया था उसने
8:10 हुए।
तू तब तक टून पड़ा होगा, फिर उठ कर गया काम पे। और तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ तो फिर काम पे गया था।
हाँ मैं खाना वाना खाया।
अब्बा तेरे काम के सिलसिले में आया या कोई ना?
तो सिर्फ ने बुलाया।
क्यों?
उनका फैक्ट्री में काम था।
अच्छा
हम लोगों ने बुलाया तो
काम करना है,
निकलवा के दे।
कैसे वो अपना मजदूरी वाला? इस कंपनी में कहीं और?
500 रुपये।
फिर अब्बा को गाँव से बुलाए? सेठ कौन है, मेमन है? कौन से?
जिनका ये कंपाउंड है, ये ईमान वाला कंपनी नहीं था।
हाँ यही सेठ है। ये तो मुहाजिर है ना?
नहीं
मेमन है। मिलाली क्या होता है?
वो भी मुहाजिर में मशहूर होता है।
इंडिया से आए हुए ना? फिर